Hey guys, welcome. In this class, we're going to be focusing on strengthening the outer hip, the glute, and the hamstring. So there's going to be an opportunity for Ekapada Bakasana, one-legged crow, but we're going to be doing a lot of things that are focusing on this area and stabilizing this outer hip region, hamstring, glute. At least one block or something in the size of a block will be helpful today. 2 blocks, I'll show something with 2 blocks that just gives you a little bit different feel for certain poses. With that said, let's get started on our backs. So either Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet touch, knees wide. You can lay in Shavasana, or maybe just feet down, knees up. But wherever you're at, just close your eyes and just start to feel your body. And just notice the space between your eyebrows and see, can you let that go a little bit more? Can you release any tension you may be holding in your jaw? Allow your shoulders and arms to be really heavy. Let your belly go, let your chest go. And then hips are heavy on your mat. And your legs are just heavy and falling wherever you're at. Just take notice of how your body's feeling. Notice where you might be feeling tight. Notice your mat underneath you giving you support. If you have Ujjayi breath and you want to take Ujjayi breath, go for it here. Otherwise, just find a pattern that you can maintain throughout class, that you can come back to. Draw your knees into your chest, give them a squeeze, and just take some small little sacrum circles to the right, gradually making those circles larger until you find the full range of motion in your hips. And then coming back to neutral, start taking those small little circles in the opposite direction. Again, gradually making them larger. You may release the knees to find even more range in that circle. And then when you feel even, come back to neutral. Set your feet down as if you're setting up for bridge. Cross your right ankle over your left knee, flex your right foot. Hands are along by your sides. I don't want you to take, we're going to take reclined pigeon, but I want you to take it without using your hands. So pick up your left foot, flex the foot, and draw your left knee in towards your chest. So you're using your hip flexors to pull the knee in. And then using your right outer hip, press your right knee forward away from you. Continue to draw the left knee in, press the right knee forward, and feel how it feels in your hips, right? You feel the quads, you feel the hip flexors up by the hip joint. You feel the inner thigh of the right side, you feel the outer hip of the right side. Just keep working both those together. We'll take this later on where we use our hands. I want you to spot the difference, right? We're just using the legs to open themselves up. And then set the feet down, switch sides. Left ankle crosses over the right knee, flex the foot. Using the right quad, right hip flexors, draw the right knee in towards the chest. And then using your left outer hip, press your knee forward, your left knee forward. Right leg pulls the knee in, left knee gets pressed out by the outer hip. So you're feeling something on the left inner thigh, left inner hip, left outer hip, right quad, right hip flexors. Keep both feet flexed. And just stay with your breath. Just notice it. And then slowly uncross the ankle. Grab onto the backs of the thighs, the hamstrings, rock and roll the entire length of your spine 3 or 4 times. On your 3rd or 4th time, cross your ankles, plant your hands, and make your way to downward facing dog. Find yourself in your downward facing dog and just find a little bit of stillness here. Feeling the first downward facing dog of the day, feel your upper back, feel your shoulders, feel your legs. And normally if you've taken some of my classes here online, or you've taken them in person, you know that I do a lot of cueing in downward facing dog. There's a lot of adjustments that can be made. But for this class, the purpose of this class, getting into the outer hip, I just want to make one. And that's press your feet down into the mat. and then pull your feet away from each other as if you're trying to split your mat down the center, right? You're going to feel the outsides of your legs, outsides of the hips, and a little bit of the hamstrings start to work. Melt your chest back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Bring your big toes to touch. Inhale your right leg up and back. Keep the right inner thigh spinning up as you reach the right leg up. Engage the left glute, right glute, right quad. Spread the toes and reach long through the right leg. And then a little bit of a press down into the left foot and pull it back. On your exhale, bend your knee, open your hip. Roll the hip open. Just let it feel good here. Feel the stretch to the right hip. And then inhale, three-legged dog, right leg up and back. Find level hips. On your exhale, right foot steps forward, runner's lunge. Fingertips frame the right foot. Left heel lifts forward and up over the toes, but take a look down and make sure this right knee is over the right ankle. If the right knee is past, inch the right toes forward. Feet are about hip width distance. Press into your right foot. Feel your outer right hip engage. And then pull the right foot back a little bit. Now your hamstring is fired up on the right side. Engage your left glute, engage your left quad, and then pull your feet towards each other. Lengthen the heart. Try to take the rounding out of the spine. Stay here with this action of pulling the feet towards each other, or hips forward, hips down, chest forward, chest up. And then what I want you to do is just kind of keep the legs as they are and just kind of round your spine. And notice the front of the left hip, the stretch kind of goes away. And then lengthen the heart forward, look forward. Keeping the legs as they are, round your upper back a little bit, feel the stretch leave the left thigh a little bit. One more time, inhale, stretch, hold here. Left hand comes underneath the left shoulder. Take the left hand about 4 inches in front of you, maybe 4 to 6 inches. Press down into your hand and then take your left elbow crease, wrap it towards your thumb. Press your left shoulder blade into the ribs and then slide it down towards your hips a little bit. Right arm rolls open. Press into your feet, keep pulling them in towards each other, roll open. As you roll open, this right outer hip wants to kind of collapse out to the right. So hug it in toward the center line and pull your right foot back. Draw your shoulder blades a little bit towards each other, but reach out of that right arm, press into your left hand. One more breath here. Exhale, left knee comes down. Bend the back knee, reach back for the left foot. Catch the outside edge if you can do so. If you need to, you can take one of your blocks underneath your left hand. It gives you a little bit more height to find this back foot. Keep working the hips forward and down, heart forward and up. But press into your right foot, pull it towards your left knee towards right hip. And then gaze over the right shoulder if you want a little bit more. But kick the foot back at the same time as you pull it forward. And then to get a little bit more across the front of the left hip and a little more strength in the back of the left hip, engage your left glute. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Pause in your plank. Take a look down. If your wrists are underneath your shoulders, take your hands forward about 4 to 6 inches. And if you want to know why, click the link up top to my video on a little bit more optimal position into the shoulders. Pull the thumbs towards each other, feel your chest engage, and then draw your shoulder blades towards each other. Feel your chest drop just a little bit. Press into your hands, shoulder blades away from each other. Inhale, slowly draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Keep the belly drawing in. Exhale, press down, shoulder blades away, a slight rounding to the upper back. Draw your chest forward, look forward. Inhale, shift forward, bring your knees down. Elbow creases continue to wrap towards the thumb, bend your elbows. Keep the elbows along the sides, slowly lower all the way down. Arms reach back, palms face down, locust. Take a breath in. And on your exhale, start to lift the back of your ribs first, and then your chest, and then your arms, and then your legs. Spin the heels in for this today. Heels turn in a little bit, kind of like Mary Poppins, heels in, and then lift the legs up a little bit higher. When we turn the heels in, we get a little bit more to the outside of the hip versus the center of the glute, center of the hamstring, right? Normally it's inner thighs up. This time I want kind of inner thighs down. Reach the arms back, palms face down for a little bit more broadening through the chest. Take a breath in. Exhale everything down. Tuck your toes, high plank. Draw your belly in, lift your hips back, downward facing dog. And again, the only cue for this class, press your feet down, pull them away from each other, outsides of the hips engage. Bend your left knee a lot. Press your right heel down and then pull your right foot back. Feel a nice stretch to your right calf. You may feel a little bit of action through the right hamstring as well. Engage your right quad. Straighten out your left leg, bend your right knee. Soften the left heel down towards the mat and then pull your left foot towards the back. Again, feeling the left calf, maybe left hamstrings engaged. Engage your left quad. And then straighten out both legs. Big toes touch. Keeping the hips level, so left inner thigh up toward the ceiling. Engage your left glute. Lift your left leg. Spread your toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. As you roll the hip open, it's okay for that left shoulder to lift a little bit, but have equal weight into both hands. Pull your right foot back a little bit, engage your right quad. Inhale, three-legged dog, left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot steps forward, runner's lunge. Again, a long enough stance that when I lift my right heel forward and up, my left knee doesn't go too far. I want to take my left foot forward, so knee is stacked over the ankle. Press into your left foot, feel your left hip. Now pull the left foot back and feel your hamstring engage. Engage the right quad, right glute, and then pull that right foot forward. Stretch the heart forward. And just like we did on the other side, I just want you to kind of get and feel how the relationship of the spine and the hips work. So roll the upper back toward the ceiling. Keep the legs as they are. Feel the stretch leave. Lengthen the heart forward. Feel the stretch grow. Keep pulling the feet towards each other. Inhale, round the spine. Don't move the legs at all. Exhale, shift the heart forward. Round the upper back. Lengthen the heart. Keep pulling the feet. Right hand down underneath the shoulder. Take it forward about 4 to 6 inches. And then imagine you're grabbing the lid of a jar with your right hand and you're just going to grip a little bit. Without moving your hands, see if you can twist that jar lid to the right. So you're going to feel your right elbow crease wrap towards your thumb or your right inner arm wrap forward. Keep the left outer hip pulling back. Reach the left arm up toward the ceiling. So again, that left hip wants to kind of collapse out. The body wants to collapse into joints. We want to build strength, so draw the left hip in, pull it back. And then right shoulder blade down the ribs a little bit, left arm reaches up. One more breath in. Exhale, right knee comes down. Right hand can come to a block if you need it. Bend your left knee, reach your left hand, right knee, reach your left hand back for your right foot. Pull the foot in, kick the foot back. And then right knee presses down and pulls forward. Left foot presses down and pulls back. Engage your right glute. All right, so we want to activate the quad as we stretch it. So as we pull with the left hand, kick with the right foot. One more breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Pause in plank. Hands forward of the shoulders, the wrist forward of the shoulders about 4 or so inches. Press into your hands, shoulder blades away from each other. Draw your lower ribs in. Shift forward, look forward. Bring your knees down. Keep the heart reaching forward, slowly lower all the way down to the mat. We'll take that heels in version of locust. Arms reach back, palms face down, breath in. Exhale, lift the back of your ribs first, then your arms, then your legs. Arms reach back, shoulder blades down the back, turn your heels in, feel the outsides of the hips engage. All right, so we're getting a little bit more into the gluteus medius as well. Lift the legs up a little bit. And the outer hip, the gluteus medius, that's what's responsible or keeps us more stable when we walk or when we're one-legged standing poses. One more breath in. Exhale everything down. Tuck your toes, high plank. Draw your belly in, lift your hips back, downward facing dog. 2 more things I want to set up before we get going on the breath. Big toes to touch. Inhale your right leg up and back. Walk your hands to your feet, standing splits at the back of your mat. When you're stable in your standing split, bend your left knee is enough, so as much as you need to take your left forearm behind your left calf. And then press the forearm into the calf. Keep it pressing forward. Now press the left calf into the left arm as you lift your right leg. As you resist this left leg straightening with your left arm, you're going to feel your quad and your hamstring on your left leg work a little bit harder, a little bit more active of a standing split. Take a breath in. Exhale, walk the hands forward, three-legged dog. Take a breath in your three-legged dog. Exhale, right foot steps forward, crescent lunge. Crescent lunge this class, a little bit shorter, and then as deep of a back a bend to your back knee. So trying to get this left thigh vertical. So 90 degrees looking for in the right knee, 90 degrees in the back knee. Press the right foot down, pull it back. Left foot presses down, pulls forward. Take your left hand to your left glute, fire that up. Lower ribs draw in, arms reach up. So with this version, by squeezing the glute, we're getting into the back of the leg. By bending that left knee, we're getting a lot of length to the front. One more breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Pause and plank, inhale. On your exhale, shift forward. Chaturanga, locust, or cobra. Inhale, find your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. So you don't always have to take chaturanga. In actuality, I prefer to take one out of every 3 vinyasa flows. I like to take chaturanga. I change between locust and cobra for the other 2. Big toes to touch. Inhale your left leg up and back. Walk the hands back towards your right foot. Standing splits. And then bend your right knee a lot. Right forearm behind the right calf. Press the forearm into the calf. Resist that right leg as you start to straighten it out so that you're holding your right forearm, pressing into the right calf as you straighten the leg out. And then using your left glute, left outer hip, lift your left leg. Take one more breath in. Exhale, walk the hands forward, 3-legged dog. Inhale here, lengthen. Exhale, crescent lunge, left foot forward. Feet hip width distance. If you feel still unstable, take the feet a little bit wider. Bend your back knee a lot. Left foot presses firmly into the mat and pulls back. Hamstring and hip are engaged. Right foot presses down and pulls forward. Hip flexors and quads are engaged. Lower ribs draw in. Right glute is engaged. Arms stretch up. And just lift the arms up. Don't worry about softening them, just lift up. Lift up as if you're trying to grab something on the top shelf. You wouldn't pull your shoulder back down with your arm overhead if you're reaching for something on a higher shelf. So don't do it here. The shoulder is designed to not be pulled down when the arms are up. Take one more breath in. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, palms together, stretch up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. A half salutation to set our rhythm of the breath. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, palms together, engage the glutes at the top, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Staying with that rhythm, crescent lunge salutations, using that lunge variation that we took. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, so come up halfway, stretch your heart forward. On your exhale, right foot back, deep bend to the right knee, crescent lunge. Inhale, reach the arms up, pull the feet towards each other. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Inhale in plank. Exhale, chaturanga, locust or cobra. Inhale, find your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay with it. Inhale, the right leg up and back. Exhale, step it forward, crescent lunge. Deep bend to this left knee. Inhale, reach the arms up, engage the left glute. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Stay with it. Inhale, halfway lift. We're just moving and breathing. Exhale, fold. Don't worry about what it looks like. Inhale, root down, rise up, engage the glutes at the top. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Same thing, same rhythm, left side. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left foot back, crescent lunge, deep bend to the left knee. Inhale, draw the lower ribs up, stretch the arms up. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Inhale in plank. Exhale, chaturanga, locust or cobra. Inhale, find your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg up and back. Exhale, step it forward, crescent lunge. Deep bend to the right knee. Inhale, draw the arms up, engage the right glute. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, palms together, engage the glutes, lift the outer ribs. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Staying with that rhythm, Surya Namaskar A, Sun A's. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Just tricking ourselves into rhythm. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank, step or float back. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga, locust cobra. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step, hop, float, handstand to the top. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, shoulders in line with the hips. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, palms together, stretch up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. One more of those. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank, step or float. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga, locust or cobra. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees, step, hop, float, top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, palms together, reach up. Exhale, hands to come hearts to center, Tadasana. Pause in your mountain pose. Feel that your body, stay with that rhythm of breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So we've set our rhythm. As we start to slow down the pace of our movements, not the pace of the breath, the key here now is to consistently maintain the same rhythm. So inhale, blink your eyes open, stretch the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, set up for Bakasana crow pose. We're not going to take crow just yet. Right? Hands under, or hands about shoulder width distance. Elbow creases wrapped towards the thumbs. Kind of grip a little bit. See your fingers turn white. Those are going to be your breaks here. Knees into the triceps, maybe knees to the outside, but get them as high up as possible. And then look forward. Do not look down. If you look down, your hips aren't going to lift. Lean forward till the toes get light, but don't pick up the feet. Keep the right knee on the right tricep. Step the left foot back. Keep the right foot down onto the mat. Lift your left leg up as high as you can. Feel your left outer hip, left glute, left hamstring work. Shift your shoulders a little bit forward. Press into your hands and lift your left leg up a little bit higher. Take an inhale. Exhale, come back. Set up for your crow. So reset, hands underneath the shoulders, knees in or outside the triceps. Look forward, not down, lean forward. Keep the left knee onto the tricep. Step the right foot back. Keep the left foot down. Right glute engages, lift the right leg up. Now shift forward, press into the hands, lift your right leg up a little bit higher. Pause, inhale. Exhale, right foot down. Bakasana crow pose or Malasana squat. If you're taking crow, same setup. Elbow creases wrap towards the thumbs, get the knees into the triceps or slightly to the outside and hug in. Look forward, not down, lean forward. Pick up one foot, shift a little bit more forward, pick up the other, pull the thumbs towards each other, draw the lower belly in. Staying with crow if you're in Malasana squat. Elbows into the knees, press them out. Squeeze the knees a little bit back into the elbows. Press the palms together, lift your chest up. Deep breath in, deep breath out, wherever you're at. In your crows, take one more inhale, and then everybody, shoot your feet back, step back, flow through a chaturanga or skip it, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, inhale your right leg up and back. Exhale, runner's lunge. Been here before, just coming back to it, get set. Pull the feet towards each other. Engage your left glute, engage your left quad. Left hand a few inches in front of the shoulder, elbow crease wraps towards the thumb, right arm toward the ceiling. You may experiment a little bit with the left hand to your block, creating more space and seeing what this feels like as you twist open. If you're staying in runner's lunge and you're not twisting open, maybe you take both blocks and you see what this feels like with more length in the spine. But you can keep the left hand down no matter to your block and just roll open. Keep the hips lifting high, press into your feet. Turn all 10 toes to the right. Press into your right foot. See how high you can get this right hip to lift. Feel the stretch on your outer right hip. Keep pressing the right foot down as if you're trying to lift your left leg. And then when you can't lift your right hip anymore, lift your left hip up. Breathe into your outer right hip. Take a breath in. On your exhale, slowly press into your left hand. Step your right foot behind your left. Wild thing. Keep the heel of your right foot lifted. Drop your head back. Find your kind of side plank variation. Pressing through the left pointer finger knuckle, engaging the glutes, lifting the hips up. Gaze down at your left thumb. Pick up your right knee. Slowly, gently step your right foot all the way to the top of your mat, followed by your left. Utkatasana, chair pose, feet hip width distance. Just bring your hands to heart center for this. Don't worry about the arms. We're focusing on the hips and the legs today, so don't worry about the shoulders. Press the feet down, pull them away from each other. When you pull them away from each other, you feel your outer hips, your outer legs start to support the quads. My dad used to have a saying that I hated all the time as kids, but he said, many hands make work light, or something to that degree. And in this case, many hands means more muscles than just the quads, help make you a little bit lighter, right? The quads are still working hard, they're getting strengthened. The outer hips, though, now are getting strengthened and they're supporting the quads. Take a breath in. On your exhale, twist to the right. Hover the elbow or connect the elbow to the top outside of the right knee. But if this left knee wants to slide a little bit in front of the right, let it, right? That way the pelvis moves with the spine. If you have the elbow to the knee, press that right knee out into the elbow. Feel your outer right hip. Try not to let that left knee collapse in. Keep it over the left heel. Stay here or open your arms. Turn your right thumb towards the back of the room. Take a half bind. And in your half bind, try not to let your right elbow twist. Keep your right forearm pressing against your back or the back of the ribs. And then keeping the forearm pressing into the back, roll the right ribs open. So the twist is coming from the ribs, not your elbow. You can take a side crow if you want to take a side crow. We'll stay here just a few more breaths. Stay with that rhythm we said earlier. And then binds, undo, side crows, make your way back. Bring your hands to heart center, hands in prayer. Reset in your chair, feet press down, pull them away. Weight shifts into your right foot, hover your left. Keep the right outer hip pulling in though, and then cross your left ankle over your right knee. One-legged Utkatasana. Sit bones down and back, heart up, hands pressed together. And the more you can send the sit bones down and back, the more you press into your left ankle. And then when we did it earlier on our backs, we used our outer hip. So in this case, the left outer hip is going to press the left knee down towards the mat. Right hand comes to left heel. Press the hand into the heel. Press the heel back into the hand. If you want more, left hand comes just to the outside, or in this case, I guess it's the top because you have the ankle crossed. The top of the left knee, press the top of the knee into the hand into the knee. Keep pressing the left heel into right hand. So as if you're trying to press right hand and left hand together through your left leg, but you're pressing the leg back into the hands. If you have Galavasana, you can take that. What we're doing here by pressing the hand into the heel is we're activating the outer hip. Same thing with the left hand pressing into the left knee. And then arm bounces start to make your way back. Take your block or whatever you have that's about the height of the tallest, on the tallest setting of the block. A couple feet, about a foot and a half, 2 feet in front of the right foot just to the inside. And then stand tall, one-legged Tadasana. So in one-legged Tadasana, what I want you to do is left hand to the heart center, right hand to your outer hip. And just to feel what we don't want, collapse the right hip out. It's like you have a baby just sitting on your hip. This is a lot more comfortable. If you've had kids, you know this. Hip out, baby sitting on the hip. Now, using the hip muscles, draw that hip back over the heel. Okay? Right hand's going to stay there, just to give you a friendly reminder to keep that hip hugging in. Left arm's going to go toward the ceiling. We're going to go from one-legged Tadasana to revolved half moon a few times, keeping that right hip pulling in. So take a breath in, reach up through the left hand. Exhale, left fingertips to the block, left leg back. Keep the hips as level as you can. Keep that right hip drawing in. Inhale, slowly come back up. Left arm up. Engage the right outer hip. Exhale, left fingertips down. Engage your left glute. Engage your left quad. Reach through that left leg. Inhale, slowly come up. Brush the inner thighs. Keep the right hip pulling in. Big toe mound pressing down. Exhale, left fingertips to the blocks. Reach long through that leg. Inhale, press as much as you can into your right foot. This is the last time. Left knee up. Exhale, revolved half moon. Left hand comes to the block or it's unsupported. Soon as you release your right arm toward the ceiling, notice your right hip kind of wants to collapse out. Can you hug it back in? So squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Lengthen the heart forward, roll from the ribs. left leg lifts a little bit higher. You can stay with this. Chopasana if you want to bend the left knee. Grab the inside of the left foot with the right hand, kick up toward the ceiling. Find your breath. As you pull in with that right hand, kick with the left leg. Take one more breath in. And then on your exhale, step your left foot back, warrior one stance. My preference for warrior one, feet hip width distance. Or feet where when I step forward, I come into my mountain pose. I don't practice mountain pose with feet together. I don't think you're stacking joints that way. But if you do, that's fine. Step your left foot back. Right? So it's like you're stepping forward right into mountain pose. And then right hip back till it stops. Stop moving it. Left hip forward till it stops. Stop moving it. When the hips stop moving, don't move them anymore. And instead of continuing to want to try to square the shoulders with the hips, I want you to square your shoulders to the front. I want you to square your shoulders with the hips. Press through your left foot. Engage your left glute. Pull your feet towards each other. Lift your hip points up. Arms up. So you're kind of facing a little bit more towards the upper left corner of your mat rather than to the front of the room. Interlace the fingers behind your lower back. Stretch the hands down. As you reach the hands down, though, imagine you're trying to break your bind, so pull your arms away from each other. And then fold to the inside of your right leg. That right hip is right away going to want to collapse out to the right. So can you pull it back in towards the front? So I'll show it here if you want to look. What happens a lot is this hip leans out. I want it in and back. Right? So we're not collapsing into the joint. We're building strength in and around the joint. All the muscles there are firing. Keep pulling your right foot back. And then staying low. Right shoulder underneath your right knee. Maybe you stay here and just interlace the fingers around your right ankle. Maybe you reach your arms out to the right like airplane wings. Maybe you find a bind or a half bind. But either way, any of those options, don't let the right hip collapse out. Hug it in toward the center line. Pull it slightly back. Stay where you're at. If you want to take Vinyasa, right hand behind the right heel, slightly to the outside. Left hand comes underneath the left shoulder. Come up onto your left toes. Walk your right toes as far forward as possible. When you can't walk it forward anymore, take it out to the right, keeping the right inner thigh on the right arm. Bend both elbows. Drop your left hip down towards your left elbow. Right leg lifts, left leg lifts. You don't want to rest your left side body on the left elbow, but it's just turning down towards it. And then slowly make your way back out. Undo your right shoulder. Left foot steps back, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink the hips, reach the arms up. And then bring your hands to heart center, because I'm not caring about the shoulders. I just brought you up because it's a habit. Press the palms together, lift the heart up, sit down, feet pull away from each other. And then take your right hand to your outer right hip, kind of right where it starts to round towards the back. Left hand at heart center. Right leg back, out, and up. So it's not straight back. And then think about turning your right arch a little bit parallel to the mat. Lift your right leg up a little bit higher. So getting more to the outside of the hip than regular Dekasana. So it's kind of like airplane upper body, half moon lower body, but the leg is a little bit to the right. Lift the right leg up one more inch. And then see, even though you're going to remove your hand, can you keep the right glute active? Use your body awareness. Keep those muscles fired up. One more breath in. Exhale, dive, standing splits. 2 hands down, right leg up toward the ceiling. Bend your left knee enough. Left forearm behind the left calf. Press the forearm into the calf. Calf into the forearm. Lift your right leg. Stay here. Maybe you add the second hand. Maybe you want to get off the one leg and come to a forward fold, or plant your hands, take a few hops towards your handstand. Right, if you're coming into handstand, I always recommend this shape here, the V shape, until you're comfortable, then working the legs together. Right, because you're still a handstand here. And then handstanders, slowly start to make your way back. Standing splits, everybody take a breath in. And on your exhale, right foot steps back. Crescent lunge. Crescent lunge with a deep bend to the right knee. Pull the feet towards each other. Lift the hip points up. Engage the right glute. Arms forward, arms up. And then eagle, left arm underneath the right. Hands in line, or elbows in line with the shoulders, hands away from the face. Keep all this, but squeeze the forearms. Feel your shoulders turn on. Keep the forearms squeezing. Drop both forearms to the right. Left ear, left shoulder. It's not a big movement with the forearms. It's just enough that when you bring your left ear to your left shoulder, you get a stretch along the right side of the neck, top of the right shoulder. Keep pulling the feet towards each other. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, pyramid pose. I prefer this pose, feet hip width distance, and about a leg's distance between my heels. Right toes kind of pointing towards the upper right corner. Left toes approximately 12 o'clock. Left hip back till it stops. Right hip forward till they stop. And then I stop moving the hips. I'm going to fold down to the inside of the left leg. I take my right hand inside or outside the foot, on the mat or on a block. Or I can take my right hand to my left shin, my left ankle. And then from here, lengthen the heart forward. Bend your left knee just a little bit with this length in the spine and pull your left foot back. Feel your left hamstring. Now engage your left quad to straighten out your left leg. Left hand to your hips. Keep the spine long. Left ribs roll open until the hips stop. Where you stop twisting, maybe you extend the left arm toward the ceiling. Keep drawing this left thigh bone back. Hips do not need to be level on top. The pelvis needs to be able to move with the spine if it requires that. Some bodies can twist just fine with them being separate, but most bodies need pelvis and spine twisting together. Left arm up. Squeeze inner thighs towards each other. Press into your right foot. Engage your right quad. One more breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Optional vinyasa of chaturanga, locust, or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Big toes touch. Inhale the left leg up and back. Exhale, runner's lunge, step the left foot forward. Just revisiting. Again, if you want to experiment, 2 blocks underneath the hands, right? Feel what this feels like with a little bit more length. Left foot pulls back, right foot pulls forward. Press into your feet. Right hand down, couple inches in front of the shoulder. Left arm rolls open. Slide your right shoulder blade down your ribs. Left hip, we don't want it to collapse out. Keep hugging it in. Left arm up. Turn all 10 toes towards the side, the left side. And then instead of collapsing, press into your left foot. How high can you lift this left hip? Right hand can always be on a block. Here. Okay. When you can't lift the left hip anymore, press into your right foot. How much higher can you lift the right hip? Pressing through the right hand. If you're on a block, take the hand off the block. Pick up the left foot. Wild thing. You can always stay with that side plank hip stretch if you don't want to take wild thing if you're on a block or if you're not. Lift the hips up, drop the head back. Engage the glutes, press them up. Press all the spinal muscles up towards the ceiling and then gaze down at your right thumb. Slowly pick up your left foot. Slowly, if you can, left foot all the way to the top of the mat, followed by your right, hands at heart center, chair pose. Feet press down, pull them apart, heart lifts up, sit a little bit lower. Feet pulling apart, get the outer hips, outer legs to support the quads. Take an inhale breath, slide the shoulders a little bit down the back. Exhale, twist to the left. If it needs to, right knee slides forward, right? The body will naturally do this if your body needs it, right? And if your body needs this, don't let someone square your hips. That means that the pelvis needs to move with the spine. Lengthen the heart forward, twist to the left. Hovering or connecting the elbow. If you're connecting, left knee presses out. Take a look at your right knee. Don't let it lean in towards the left. Keep it over the right heel. Stay here, lengthen the spine, or open the left arm toward the ceiling. If you have the left arm open, stretch the heart forward, left thumb towards the back, bend the elbow, take a half bind. And again, we're not rolling the elbow open, so keep the forearm pressing into the back. Left elbow sort of wrapping down towards the mat, and then roll left shoulder open. Protect your shoulder a little bit by keep pressing the elbow and the forearm back in towards the ribs. And then bind, slowly undo. Hands come to heart center. Slowly come back, chair pose. Weight now into your left leg. Hover your right foot. Don't let the left hip out. Keep it in. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Sit bones down and back. Right foot is flexed, right ankle's pressing into the knee. Using your outer right hip, press your right knee down towards the mat. Finding that rhythm of breath we set earlier. And then left hand to right heel. Press the hand and the heel in towards each other. If this is enough, stay, or take the right hand to the top of the right knee. Press them in again towards each other. Right hand pressing towards left hand pressing towards right hand, pressing through the leg, but pressing both ends of the leg that are being touched by the hands back into each other. Galavasana, if you want to take Galavasana, the arm balance flying pigeon. Keep finding that rhythm of breath. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Heart forward, sit bones back if you're in chair or one-legged chair. And then arm balances start to make your way back. Everybody take your block at the highest setting to the inside of your left foot slightly, and about a foot and a half, 2 feet in front of you, about a torso length distance. And then slowly stand tall. Whoop. One-legged Tadasana. Maybe you want to shake that left leg out just as a little bit of a breather. And just like we did on the other side, feel what it feels like to do what we're not looking for. Bump the hip out. And then using the muscles, pull the hip back over the heel, right arm toward the ceiling, Left hand to the outside of the hip, keep it here. Right arm up. And then on your exhale, right fingertips to your block, tap it, reach long through the right leg. Keep the left hip squeezing in. Inhale, slowly come back to one-legged Tadasana. Exhale, right fingertips down. Keep pressing through the left big toe mound. Engage the right glute. Inhale, slowly come back up. Exhale, right fingertips down, right leg back. Lift from the right glute. Inhale, squeeze the left hip in, reach up. Exhale, revolve, half moon, and hold. Right fingertips to your block or unsupported. Keep the left hip in, stay or lift the left arm up. Lengthen the heart forward, spine's long. Lift the right glute, right hamstring up toward the ceiling. Stay here, Chopasana. Bend the left knee. Grab the right foot with the left hand and kick the right leg up toward the ceiling. Heart stretches forward. Left hip draws in. One more inhale breath. On your exhale, slowly release. Warrior one. So you want about 45-degree angle with that back foot or turning forward. If your ankle doesn't allow for that, it can be a little bit less of an angle. Pull the feet towards each other. Press through your right foot. Engage your right glute. Hips lift up toward the ceiling. Lower ribs draw in. Arms stretch up. Left hip back till it stops. Right hip forward till it stops, and then stop moving the hips. Shoulders in line with the hips. More a little bit towards the upper right corner. If I was just to continue to try to pull your left hip back, right hip forward, if a teacher was, those hips are eventually just going to stop. And what's going to happen is the small little joints where your sacrum connects to your ilium or your sacrum connects to your pelvis on both sides, those are going to start to move because it's the path of least resistance. The hips will stop. They won't move anymore. And if we continue to try to move them, it's going to go to the next sort of joint or the next weakest link or the path of release resistance, not necessarily the weakest link. Arms reach up. Exhale, interlace the fingers at your lower back. Stretch the hands down. Pull the arms away from each other, but keep the hands clasped. Fold to the inside of your left leg. Don't let the left hip go out. Keep it pulling in, hugging back. Fold to the inside of your left leg. Keep rinsing the hands towards the front of your mat, but keep pulling the arms away from each other. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Find your rhythm again. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly release the bind, stay low. Left shoulder works in the direction of underneath your left knee. And you can stay and just interlace the fingers around your left ankle. Left arm can go out to the left, right arm out to the right. Warrior four, pulling the left hip back. Not letting it lean out, pulling it back, staying or half bind or full bind. But keep hugging the left foot back. Keep pressing into your right foot. Stay here if you're taking the arm balance. Left hand just behind the left heel, Kundinyasana. Left hand behind the heel, a little bit out to the left. Right hand a little bit out of the right shoulder. Come up onto your right toes. Left feet work forward until the leg stops wanting to get straighter. Take it a little bit out to the left. Bend your elbows, chest forward. drop your right hip down, feel your left leg lift, and then lean forward, right glute lifts the right leg. Take one more breath in. On your exhale, undo your left shoulder, step your right foot forward, chair pose, Utkatasana. Sit bones down and back, heart up, feet pull away from each other. Hand comes to the outer left hip, slide it back to where it starts to round, press into your right foot, left leg back, out, up. So it's trying to square the shoulders towards the mat. So think Dekasana airplane, but you're thinking half moon in that left leg a little bit. Lift the left leg up. It's awkward, there's really no good name for it, but just feel these outer hip muscles with your fingers. Keep them engaged. Just pull your hand off, bring it back to heart center. Lift the leg up one more time, breath in. Exhale, dive, standing splits. Two hands down, left leg up toward the ceiling. Bend your right knee enough that right forearm comes behind the calf. Press the leg and the arm in towards each other as you straighten out your right leg. Feel your hamstring, feel your quad work a little bit more. Stay here or add the second hand. Maybe you take your forward fold or you plant your hands. Find your handstand hops. Hold your handstand or just keep working hops. Try to get more controlled rather than higher. Right? I'd rather have you here really controlled than here kicking, sounding like some galloping horse every time your feet hit the ground. So a few more breaths here. Take one more breath in, and on your exhale, crescent lunge, step the left foot back. From your crescent lunge, just like we've been doing all day, bend your left knee a lot. Lower ribs draw in, left glute engages, feet pull towards each other, arms stretch up, and then eagle, right arm underneath the left, elbows in line with the shoulders, hands away from the face. Feel your shoulder blades pull away from each other. Squeeze the forearms, feel the shoulders activate, and then forearms a little bit to the left, right ear to right shoulder. So you should be feeling something along the left side of the neck, top of the left shoulder. Find your rhythm of breath, and then inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Actually, don't come to hands to the mat. Straighten out your left leg. Whew. Wanted to get out of this quickly. This pose coming up is torture. Pyramid pose setup. Right hip back, left hip forward. Lower ribs draw in with a long spine. Fold to the inside of your right leg. Left hand to the inside on the mat or on a block. Maybe on the outside, mat or block, or left hand to right ankle. Either way, lengthen your heart forward. Slight bend to your right knee, press the ball of the foot down, pull it back. Hamstring is now engaged. Keep the foot pulling back, engage the right quad. Re-lengthen the heart forward, right ribs roll open, and then maybe right arm up. Revolve triangle. Squeeze inner thighs towards each other. Keep pulling the feet towards each other. Keep the spine long by reaching the heart forward. Roll the right ribs open. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat. High plank. Flow through a vinyasa or skip it. Downward facing dog. And then from your downward facing dog, find child's pose or any other pose of rest. Maybe grab a sip of water, wipe a little bit of sweat. Dolphin plank, forearm balance if you want to give yourself time. If you want a little bit more time to play in your forearm balance, click pause. When you're ready, come back to it. All right, at the beginning of the class, I said we're going to be working towards Ekapada Bakasana, or there will be an opportunity for Ekapada Bakasana. Ekapada Bakasana, one-legged crow, or flying crow, some people call it. We did the setup for it earlier, right? It's one way to get into it. I find it to be the easiest way to get into it, or the easiest way for my students to conceive being able to get into it. They might not be able to do it, but they can see that this way might be the easiest way one day when they're able to do it, because it's not an easy pose by any means. It requires a lot of shoulder strength, a lot of back body strength, and then just the trust in yourself to be able to lean forward enough to counter the weight of the back. So just like we did before, set up for Bakasana. If you're still working crow and you're not comfortable in crow, or you're just getting into your crow and it's like, I'm there, but I'm not super confident in it, work Bakasana. Okay. Otherwise, set up. You can get all the benefits, though, of one-legged crow without lifting the front leg, just like we did earlier. So you'll set up, hands about shoulder width distance, elbow creases wrap forward. I prefer my hands just slightly turned out. Not sideways, not here, but just kind of like pointer fingers. If my my hands were on a clock, my left pointer finger would be pointing towards 11 o'clock. My right pointer finger would be at about 1 o'clock. Okay? Knees into the triceps or to the outside and you're hugging in. I just find getting them into the triceps a little bit easier if you have a little bit more of a shelf on your triceps. Lean forward till the toes get light. Keep the right leg where it's at. Bail the left leg. Left leg lifts up toward the ceiling. Shift the shoulders forward, press into your hands, engage your left glute, and then lift your left leg up so much that your right toes lift. I'm not trying to pick up my toes. The left leg is lifting it. What I see in this pose the most from students, they don't lean enough forward. They try to pick up that right foot before it's ready. So what happens is, right, they come into it, they lean forward just a little bit. This left leg is still kind of down. It's not all the way up. And then they pick up that right foot, and then they fall backwards. Well, most of the weight is behind your wrist. You got this heavy butt, heavy legs, kind of the lower back. What we need to do is offset that. So you need to lean enough forward and lift the leg up enough that more weight shifts past the wrist to offset the heavy load in the back. And then when you're done with that side, switch sides, left knee in, right leg. First set up for crow, and then bail the right leg out. Shift forward, lift the right leg so far that the left leg's gonna lift. And then maybe you lift, maybe you don't, maybe you come crashing down, but just know this one is a beast, this one takes a lot. And if you're like, I don't want to do any of that, right? Nothing wrong with that. Some days we just don't feel like doing any of that. Forehead down, knees together, big toes together, arms reach back, palms face up, embryo. That's where we're going to meet anyways, so you might as well get a jump start on it if you don't want to take crow or one-legged crow on both sides. Right? But in crow, just trust yourself, one-legged crow, both of them, trust yourself to lean a little bit more forward than you think you have to, right? Arm balances are called balances for a reason. It's finding that balance point. You want to spread the weight from the front and back side of the hands, and if you don't do that, your weight's going to crash on either side. Embryo when you're done. Again, just like with pincha, forearm balance, if you want to keep working one-legged crow, hit pause. If you're not, if you're done, let's move forward, come up onto your shins. Actually, walk the feet back. Want to do a couple things on our bellies, some prone back bends first. So come all the way down. Stretch your arms forward. Come up onto your fingertips. If it's more comfortable to plant your hands, plant your hands. But you're kind of coming into seal pose, right? In the end, they call it a seal pose. Bend your right knee. Feel your hamstrings start to work a little bit. And then bring your awareness to the front of your hips. The tendency to lift the right knee off the mat is to roll onto the left hip to get the right knee. I want equal weight to stay in the front of the hips, and then lift your right knee off. It's not going to go very far. Now you feel your butt, your hamstring, your lower back working a little bit more. Press through your right hand, float your left arm. Thumb faces up. Bend the elbow, thumb to the back of the shoulder. Keep lifting the right knee up, but keep the equal weight into both hips. Left elbow lifts, and as you lift the left elbow, lift the chest. Keep the thumb on the back of the shoulder, and then imagine you're bringing your hand to your foot. Maybe you even float your left leg. One more breath in, lift up. Exhale, slowly release. Stack your hands. Forehead to the hands. Sway the upper body side to side. This one sucks. I can't, it sucks in a good way. I can't sugarcoat it at all. When I taught this class for a month, I demoed it at least once a day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many classes I was teaching. It didn't get easier the whole month. It still is just like unbearable. But it's so good for strengthening the low back, the butt, the hamstring. So the way I look at it, I call it is a flip grip, one-sided bow pose with no strap. I have no other way to call it. It's just not nice. Okay, come up on your hands, come up on your fingertips. Sit tall, right? This is a really good strengthener for the back. Bend your left knee. Left hamstring starting to engage, heel in towards the butt. Keep equal weight into the front of your hips. Don't let yourself roll onto your right hip. Lift your left knee off the mat. Keep the left knee lifted, float your right arm. Bend your elbow, thumb to the top of the right shoulder. And then lift the elbow. The elbow is lifting the chest up. And then you're lifting your left foot towards your right hand. Keep pulling both ends towards each other. Maybe you float the right leg. And just feel your back scream in a good way. Lift both ends towards each other a little bit more. Exhale, hands to the mat. Stack your hands. Sway a little bit side to side. Oh, jeez. Sometimes I don't know why I do this to myself. Because I'm not the only one in pain, right? Sometimes I do things for my students to be struggling and I can kind of laugh at them. But I have to demo this one because people don't quite grasp it, and I don't know why I do this to myself. Whew. And then bend your knees. Reach your arms back for your feet. Don't grab your feet. Another back body strengthener. I love to take back bends that require a grip of some sort or a strap or whatever and not use that grip. It makes it a lot harder, but it's so good for the back body. So we'll take Dhanurasana bow without grabbing the legs. Take a breath in. Exhale, lift, reach back for the feet, pull the feet in. So you're trying to reach past your hands at the same time or past your feet, and you're trying to bring your feet past your hands. Feel how the back has to work. The back's working, butt's working, hamstrings working, upper back's working. One more breath in. Exhale, slowly release. It's kind of like half bow, half locust. One more. This time for our last kind of back body strengthener on our belly. We'll take Dhanurasana bow, but we won't grip first to find the lift. We'll take what we just did, lift, and then if we can grab our feet, we grab our feet. If we don't, we stay in that horrible version of locust / bow. Bend your knees. Reach your arms back. First, lift the back of the ribs up, then lift the knees. Keep lifting. If you can, draw the heels, the feet in, maybe you grab it. But that activates the back to lift. If we just were to lift into bow, right, a lot of times we just use the front of our quads to find this lift. But I want the back body to lift. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Again, you can stack the hands. Maybe you windshield wiper the feet. Or maybe you press back to a child's pose. Here. Just come back to your breath. That's really good work for the back body strengthening. And then downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or float to your shins at the top of your mat. We're going to work camel lean backs. Right, we're going to work the muscles, the strength of muscles that will help us eventually maybe one day drop back either from standing or from camel to wheel. To start, tuck the toes. It's a little bit easier to start with, or it's easier to tuck the toes. And then hip points up away from the thighs, lower ribs in, so you're kind of keeping a straight line from knees, hips, shoulders. Hands come to where your glute meets the hamstring. Engage those. Press them forward. Lower ribs drawing. And then keeping this shape. We're not arching the back, keeping the straight spine or lengthen the spine. Lower back, keep the line, press forward. All in one motion. 3 of those. Slowly release. Slowly come back up. One more. Slowly keep the shape. Come all the way back up. Untuck the toes. It's going to get a little bit harder here. Keep all of this shape here. Slowly lower as far back as you can. Keep your glutes pressing forward, especially where the glute meets the hamstring. Keep all this in. Notice how it works a lot more in the quads with the toes untucked. 3 of those. And then slowly sit back on your heels. Right, so you can feel your butt, hamstring, front of the quads all strengthening, but you're also getting length through here. We'll use that same entry, same exit, but we're going to go back into camel, grabbing our heels. So if you're not sure if you can touch your heels with the toes untucked, or you know you can't, you need the toes untucked, tuck the toes. It's always best to start with toes tucked. You can always untuck them the next time you come into it. But what I see a lot when people go to grab the heels is they take this hand, they flop it back, grab the heel, they take this, kind of flop it back, and then they press forward. Not wrong, but they're just using flexibility. And what I like to do is make things a little more efficient. I like to add a strength component into everything. So from here, we're going to enter it the same way. But before we enter, I want to show how people exit. So again, they come in one at a time. They kind of twist the spine, use the flexibility, and then to come out, it's the same thing. They press into one hand, press into the other, and they kind of do this twisting thing. Not inherently wrong. I just think we can improve upon it and add a little bit of strength. So from here, same shape, camel lean backs. And then we just lean back till we can find our heels, grab a hold of the heels. Then once we have the heels, hips forward, heart up. Keep that shape or the actions of our lean back so the core is active supporting the spine. And then to come out of it, lower ribs draw in, hips drop back, press forward. One more time. Find your lean back shape. Hands to right where the glutes meet the hamstrings. Press them forward. Lower ribs draw in. Grab your heels. Press the hips forward. Heart up. Maybe head back or maybe a slight tuck to the chin. Whatever's more comfortable. And then to come out, slowly drop the hips. Lower ribs draw in. Press out. Sit back. And it's perfectly fine. You don't have to get the hips over the knees. It's the action of pressing forward. So if you were to lean back and you kind of looked like this, if you are working everything forward and this is where your end range of motion is, that's fine. What you don't want is just kind of chilling here going, when is Tate going to be done with this? I'm ready to get out, right? It's the action of pressing forward, keeping it all active. Sit back on your heels, hero's pose, close your eyes, and then just feel what came up for you. Right, so with that camel, that's how I enter camel now. I don't enter camel just sort of not leaning back or just kind of collapsing into it with flexibility. I always use a component of strength. And I can find that, if you just sit in hero's pose, watch this, I can still find all of that action while rounding my spine because I've practiced this enough, right? I'm still engaging everything. I'm just now able to bend from my thoracic a little bit more, keeping everything engaged to come back in to camel and press forward. I'm not twisting the spine. A few more rounds of breath here. And then slowly lean onto your left hip. Extend your legs forward. Come all the way down onto the mat. As you come down, set your feet down. 1 10 breath, bridge, wheel, active, restorative, your choice. Right? If you want to make it more restorative, we've done a lot of back body strengthening. So if you want to be done with an active back bend, set a block underneath your hips at any height, whatever's comfortable for you. Right? If you're coming into wheel, elbows wrap towards each other, hands about shoulder width or a little bit wider. And then press down, lift up. Keep the elbows wrapping in. Press into your inner heels, big toe mounds. Press your chest towards the back of the room. Lift your hips up, press all the spinal muscles up toward the ceiling. And then after about 10 breaths in whatever you're in, Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet touch, knees wide. You take one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, and catch opposite elbows over your head. Maybe arms along by your sides, maybe hands rest on the inner thighs, or maybe you take your heels of the hands into your hip creases and just gently press your thighs away. Feel length and tractioning through the low back. And just come back to that rhythm of breath we said earlier. And then slowly draw your knees into your chest. Set your feet down as if you're setting up for another bridge. Don't worry, we're not taking another bridge. We're not taking another back bend. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Flex the foot. Press your right knee towards the front of the room. Without using your hands to start, draw your left knee in towards your chest. Flex the foot. Right arm this time threads through. Left arm rolls around. Pull in with the hands, but at the same time, press the legs forward. So you're pulling with the arms in towards the chest. You're pressing the legs towards the front of the room. And then maybe you want to sway a little bit side to side, maybe finding a little bit tighter of a spot as you roll just a little bit to the left. But keep the legs active, pressing forward as you pull in with the other leg. Feel the difference of when we took it without the hands earlier today versus when we have the hands. And then slowly come back to center. Keep the legs as they are, just release the hands. Keep the legs as they are, set the sole of the left foot on the mat. Shift both hips a little bit to the right, drop both knees to the left. Sole of the right foot on the mat, right knee up toward the ceiling. I want this gentle. We've done a lot of outer hip work, so just a very gentle stretch to finish with a little bit of a twist. If you want, if it's really tight in that right hip, set that right foot to a block. Okay? That'll take it a little bit off. Maybe you gaze over your right shoulder, maybe up toward the ceiling. Maybe you cactus your arms. Just take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Slowly come back to center. Draw both knees in, reset. And then set your feet down again for bridge. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. Press the left knee towards the front of the room. Now thread the left arm through, right arm around. You can always catch the front of your shin as well. Shoulders come back down onto the mat. Using your hands, pull the leg in. Using your legs, both legs, press your legs forward. All right, feeling your outer hip. It's still active, but we're adding a little bit of leverage to it. And then just sway a little bit side to side. Maybe you find a little bit tighter of a spot and you hold it there. But keep pulling in with the hands, keep pressing out with the legs. Staying with your breath. And then slowly make your way back. Release the hands, keep the legs as they are. Set the right foot down, keep the legs as they are. Shift your hips a little bit to the left. Both knees to the right. Sole of the left foot on the mat, left knee up toward the ceiling. If you need to, again, block underneath that left foot or a stack of books or whatever you got. Gazing over the left shoulder or gazing up toward the ceiling. Just a gentle outer hip stretch with a little bit of a twist component. Again, feel free to cactus the arms. Arms long by the sides, anywhere. Just breathe. And then slowly come back to center. Left knee into the chest. Right knee into the chest. Forehead to the knees. Wrap your arms around your legs. Squeeze everything in tight. Take one more deep breath in. Hold it at the top. And when you're ready, Shavasana. Let it go. Let everything soften, let everything be heavy. And as always in my classes, online classes here, if you can stay, I recommend staying as long as you can. But our time is up, 60-minute mark. If you need to get up, slowly roll to your favorite side. Using your hands, slowly press up to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed. Your hands together in prayer position at heart center. Slide your thumbs towards your forehead, towards your third eye. Take a final deep breath in. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this outer hip work can be really hard. It can be really tough.
but most bodies it's really beneficial for because our outer hips, our glutes, and our hamstrings are pretty weak for the most part with all the sitting we do. If you like this video and you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I try to post a couple of these a month, but I put tutorials on there quite a bit. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Namaste.